is.
You would never abuse power as retribution against anybody.
Except for day one.
America or Trump?
Trump stands on the other side of the wall, where evil lives.
No, I would not protect you. In fact, I would encourage them to do whatever the hell they want.
Donald Trump's biggest fear isn't losing an election, it's being laughed at. The Lincoln Project just proved it with an ad so devastating it caused a complete meltdown at Mar-a-Lago. Sources say Trump couldn't speak for 10 minutes while Melania went nuclear, breaking things and screaming in Slovenian. I'm going to break down the 3 specific psychological triggers the Lincoln Project used to make Trump lose his mind, and why this matters for everyone trying to understand how Trump really operates. Plus, I'll reveal why Brett Ratner's upcoming Melania documentary might be dead in the water after this incident. And before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now back to the video. What happens when you poke a narcissist's biggest insecurities? The Lincoln Project figured out the perfect formula, and boy did they cook up something special for Donald Trump. These folks didn't just create an advertisement, they engineered psychological warfare specifically designed to break Trump's brain into tiny little pieces. The genius behind this operation? A team of former Republicans who knew exactly which buttons to push. Having worked alongside Trump, they understood his deepest fears weren't about policy failures or legal troubles. They were about looking weak, appearing incompetent, and being the butt of jokes. Talk about hitting a guy where it hurts.
We're in this fight till the end, till Trump's gone and America is free again. And nothing's going to change that.
These political masterminds didn't just randomly throw their ad into the television void. Nope, they scheduled it like a surgical strike, making sure it would air during Trump's famous TV watching hours in Washington, D.C. and around his Mar-a-Lago compound. It's like they sent his fragile ego a formal invitation to a psychological beatdown.
Wrong to pardon terrorists. Wrong to get in bed with Putin. Wrong for an American president to call himself a king.
The content, pure emotional dynamite. Instead of boring policy critiques, they portrayed Trump as Putin's puppet, weak, controlled, and utterly ridiculous.
When Donald Trump was inaugurated, remember who else was celebrating? Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump.
Trump stands on the other side of the wall, where evil lives.
No, I would not protect you. In fact, I would encourage them to do whatever the hell they want.
They didn't attack his ideas. They went straight for his manhood and self-image. Sources close to Trump claim his face turned bright tomato red while watching, with sweat pouring down so heavily you could practically see the spray tan washing away in real time. For nearly 10 whole minutes, an eternity in Trump speak, the man famous for never shutting his mouth couldn't form a complete sentence. One witness described the scene as watching someone have an out-of-body experience.
Blight on America's presidential legacy. Yes, future generations will refer to you as that turd sandwich that accidentally won an election one time.
The usually loud-mouthed former president was reduced to stunned silence. The true psychological brilliance came next. The Lincoln Project knew Trump would be physically incapable of not responding. His inevitable meltdown on Truth Social transformed their limited-run advertisement into viral gold. His late-night all-caps rants were described by one aide as a Category 5 hurricane of insecurity and rage, ironically proving every single point the ad made about his stability.
No, get those lights off! Off!
It's the hardest job in the world.
Lucky I brought some notes.
But here's where things get juicy. This ad didn't just expose Trump, it accidentally revealed the dirty laundry of his marriage. Anthony Scaramucci, who briefly served as Trump's communications director, dropped a bombshell, claiming Melania's hatred for Donald is so intense that it's become his measuring stick for judging everyone else's feelings toward Trump. According to The Mooch, her feelings have been an open secret among insiders for years. The Mooch's bombshell about Melania's feelings was just the tip of the iceberg. Behind Mar-a-Lago's golden walls, something unprecedented happened when that Lincoln Project ad hit the airwaves. The usually composed Ice Queen completely shattered.
Why do you think you're losing, Donald?
Because some people don't love me, maybe.
It's because you've got a loyalty problem. Loyalty problem. They're in your campaign. They're in your campaign.
Staff members at Trump's Florida compound reported hearing something they'd never heard before. Melania shouting in Slovenian. Think about that for a second. When you're truly losing it, you don't calculate your words carefully in your second language. You revert to your mother tongue, especially when you don't want your husband to understand what you're really saying about him. One staffer remarked they didn't know what was happening but knew to stay far away from the East Wing. Smart move.
Who he is.
You would never abuse power as retribution against anybody.
Except for day one.
America or Trump?
The verbal explosion wasn't the only thing that had staff ducking for cover. The sounds of objects smashing against walls followed her Slovenian tirade. Not exactly the picture of marital bliss, is it? This wasn't just about some political ad. This was years of resentment finally finding its explosive release. The fallout has been even more revealing. Sources confirm the Trumps are now sleeping in separate bedrooms at Mar-a-Lago, so far apart that according to one insider, they need a golf cart just to visit each other. That's not a marriage. That's a long-distance relationship under the same roof. Talk about terrible timing. Right as Melania's carefully constructed facade crumbles, filmmaker Brett Ratner is capturing it all for an unprecedented behind-the-scenes documentary about the former First Lady. Amazon has already committed to a 2025 theatrical release, but they might be getting a very different film than they bargained for.
They should call it The Losers Project.
Let's lay that into rapid response.
Ratner's involvement is eyebrow-raising all on its own. The guy hasn't directed anything in Hollywood for 7 years after multiple sexual misconduct allegations drove him out of the business. Now he's making a documentary about a woman whose marriage appears to be imploding in real time. You couldn't make this stuff up if you tried. What started as a political hit job against Donald accidentally became a spotlight on the true state of the Trump marriage. The Lincoln Project thought they were exposing Trump's insecurities to the world, but they ended up revealing something much more personal, that perhaps the person who knows Trump best can't stand him either. So what's the real lesson from this Lincoln Project takedown?
You're great at remembering things.
Person, woman, man, camera, TV. Thank you, everybody.
We at the Lincoln Project just want to say it's okay.
Okay.
Seriously, we know you did your best.
Trump's kryptonite isn't lawyers or election officials. It's his massive ego. While he's busy fighting court battles, his real vulnerability is psychological. One smartly placed ad that hits his insecurities can trigger a complete meltdown.
You want to make any comment about this Lincoln Project ad? Yeah, no, I saw it.
Trump plan will kill you. The end is coming.
He thinks he's God.
As the 2024 campaign heats up, his opponents now have the perfect playbook: skip the policy debates and go straight for his fragile self-image.
Watching the power grab and illegality going on in Washington, it's easy to feel helpless, like there's nothing you can do.
The strategy makes him extraordinarily manipulable, as the ad proved. His carefully created tough guy persona can be shattered by anyone who understands what makes him tick. Trump's facade crumbles when you simply hold up a mirror to his insecurities.